Hello everyone, it is Jazz here. Welcome to my 200 plus subscriber Q&A video. First of all, I just want to really thank everybody that has subscribed to this channel so far. I so appreciate you guys just watching my videos and caring about what I think. Also, thank you to the people that sent in questions for this video that I'm really excited to answer because this is my very first Q&A video. So let's jump into those questions, shall we? What are your top 5 children's books? My top 5 will probably change from week to week on terms of this because I do really love children's books just in general, but I decided to pick some that I have some really great stories about because those have the best memories, and thus I feel like they deserve to be in the top 5 for today. I really love the Frog and Toad books by Arnold Lobel. So these are just books about a frog and a toad who are friends and the stuff they do together. Really enjoyed these as a kid and still enjoy them as an adult, and my mom also really enjoys them, so I think it was like one of the books that we really bonded over. Then I decided to go with Winnie the Pooh, even though I have not read this with my own eyeballs in a really long time, but I have the best memories of my dad reading Winnie the Pooh to me. My dad would do all the voices for all the characters, and his Eeyore was spot on. He's like a very quiet kind of dude. So the fact that he really wanted to make the story come to life to me means so much, and I will always love these stories because of that memory. Another super fave that I have great memories of reading as a kid and would love to reread as an adult are the Pippi Longstocking books by Astrid Lindgren. So these books were my jam when I was young. I think because Pippi was really independent and kind of crazy and all over the place, and I was kind of like that. The last 2 books are 2 picture books that I really love to read to small children when I'm teaching dance class, just to finish up the dance class for a treat. So one of my faves to read is Dance Tanya, which is a little book about a little girl who has an older sister that does ballet, and Tanya is so adamant that she wants to join dance class as well, but she's just a little too little, and it's just such a cute story about her dancing with her teddy bears and putting on costumes and just really wanting to dance, and it's just the cutest story ever. Also, I love Dancing in the Wings by Debbie Allen. I really love this because it is about African American dancers, which I think is really awesome. It also is about a dancer that is just a little bit different from the others, and thus she has to, find her place on the stage, and I think that is so cool. What is your best memory of making content for this channel? The best thing about making content is the reaction to the content, because when you're filming, you're just kind of talking to yourself. I guess my answer to this is that my best memory is really making friends on Booktube and YouTube that wanted to discuss stuff with me, and the first time that happened was really super awesome. What is your favorite video you've ever made? I decided to go with one that I made with my mom, and it's called The Ultimate TV Tag. I will link you to it in the description, but it was just really fun to film that with my mom. We really love watching TV together, and so we could talk about all our weird little shows that we watch, and it was just super fun. What is your favorite version of some of your favorite heroes from movies, TV, comics, and or video games? Which ones and why? So I'm gonna go through each type of thing, like movies, TVs, comics. I don't really play video games because I'm lame at video games. Overall, I really think instead of specific favorite heroes, though, I feel like I have superhero teams or stories that group heroes are really intrigued to me because I like to see different characters play off of each other. One kind of comic book thing that collects a bunch of superheroes that I really love is Marvel 1602 by Neil Gaiman. This is basically a story about what if a lot of the Marvel superheroes that are in the Marvel Universe existed in the year 1602. So it kind of feeds my period piece thing that I love period pieces, and also my love of superheroes. So that is one of my favorite renditions of like superheroes like working together kind of comics. I also really love the X-Men. I can't give you like a specific comic that I really love, but I've tried several and I usually just really enjoy that superhero team. In terms of movies, I am like sadly and ashamedly behind in my superhero films. Like, I need to get on the ball. But so far, for some reason, I really enjoy the Thor movies as well as like the first Avengers movie the most. Now, part of that is not because of the heroes in those, but because I have this weird affinity for Loki. Even though he's a villain, he's kind of borderline anti-hero to me, which kind of makes him interesting to me. I love a good anti-hero. When it comes to TV with cartoons, I am always down for a Spider-Man cartoon because Spider-Man has the best sense of humor and he's just awesome, and most of the cartoons about Spider-Man are usually pretty darn good. In terms of live action TV, I really love The Flash in particular. I mean, I like all the DC CW shows, but I think The Flash is one of my favorites, and a very close second is probably Legends of Tomorrow because I do like that team aspect. Also, The Flash has really great team aspect. I really like his team. So I like Barry as like a character, but I also like Barry's team and their dynamic. They're very family oriented, and I think that's why I really love that show a lot. Bryn Johnson, who is also my mom, by the way, has asked a fabulous question for this video, and she asked me, what is my favorite autobiography book? One of them is one that you actually recommended to me, Mom, and it is My Year with Eleanor by Noelle Hancock. And this is a book about a woman who decides to do something that scares her every day based on a quote that Eleanor Roosevelt said about doing something that scares you every day. So she takes a year and does something that scares her every single day, and she also in the process learns a lot of stuff about Eleanor Roosevelt, which is really interesting. So it's got some really funny anecdotes about her doing things that scare her and also accomplishing a lot of interesting goals. But on the other side, it does include a lot of historical information about Eleanor Roosevelt as a person, and that is some really interesting stuff as well. Another one that I really loved was Angela's Ashes by Frank McCourt, which is about Frank McCourt and his basically growing up in Ireland and kind of the hardship that he went through. The reason I think I really love this was I really loved that Frank McCourt had this really great sense of humor in this book, even though a lot of trial and tribulation is going on in this book and it's got some like harsh subjects that it's talking about. He never made the book depressing. I also, when I read this, listened to it in audiobook, and it was read by Frank McCourt, so I think that really helped me like get a sense of his personality and what his personality was like. 3 questions. Who is your favorite actor? What is your favorite movie? And if you could be any superhero, what or who would you be? For actresses, I have to say Audrey Hepburn, because my obsession with Audrey Hepburn is real. Like, I've tried to watch as many of her movies that I can watch, and I have read up a lot about her, and I also just think personality-wise, she seemed like such like a kind and gracious and just classy kind of person, and I think that is something really cool. She also has some really awesome quotes, like, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Hilarious story is that I actually went to my 8th grade graduation dressed as Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Only the teachers got it. The kids were like, why, what's with the black dress and the hat? I don't get it. And I was like, it's Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And they were like, huh? I was like, you know, My Fair Lady, Wait Until Dark, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and they were like, nothing. This is the kind of 8th grader that I was. My favorite movie of all time is The Sliver and the Rose. This is a musical that came out in 1979, I believe, and it is based on the Cinderella story. I think it's the best Cinderella rendition that has ever been made, but that's just like my partiality because it is my favorite movie of all flipping time. But anytime I need to feel good, I put this on because it always makes me feel good, and the songs are so beautiful, and there's a lot of them, which is like extra icing on the cake, and it's just a beautiful looking film. Like the costumes and like the sets and all the cinematography and stuff, so nice. And I feel like I want to be like an amalgam of a bunch of superheroes because there are elements of everything that I think that I really would like to have. Every time I take a which X-Men character are you quiz, I get Storm. So I definitely should start off with that as a baseline, and then maybe throw in the awesome fighting skills of Black Widow, and then throw in a little bit of the quick wit of Spider-Man or like Spider-Gwen or something like that. And I think that would be like my ideal superhero, because I think you'd have like a nice range of powers and things to do. Even when I try to pick a superhero that I want to be, it's still a team. I am always looking for cool new channels to watch. So my question is, who are your favorites to recommend? I'm always enjoying your Instagram poems. I'd love to know more about what makes you write them and where your inspiration comes from. Lucy and Scott, who run the BookX channel, also run a website called bookx.com, which is a really cool website that I've signed up for, guys. Basically what this website does is that it helps you find books that are geared towards your particular taste. So in the spirit of that, I'm going to mention booktubers that I think would kind of be to your guys' particular taste. I'm going to recommend that you guys check out The Book Brood. This is run by a couple, Heidi and Aaron, and you guys are a couple, so I think you will really relate to their dynamic. Their channel features a lot of different genres and a lot of books that maybe you've never heard of, so you're getting some new recommendations on their channel all the time. And also, they do have 2 small children, not unlike what I heard you guys have. So they do occasionally mention in their videos books that they read to their children, which I think is really cool. For people that read a variety of different things that I think you guys might find interesting, I'm going to recommend Bree Hill and Aoife from Fred Weasley Died Laughing. On to my answer to your second question, which is about my Instagram poems. So if you guys didn't know, every single day I post a magnetic poem on my Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter pages. A little over 2 years ago, I decided that I just needed to do something with my Tumblr page because I had this Tumblr for like the longest time. I didn't know what to do with it. But one day I decided, hey, you know what you do? You do write poetry and songs, and you have an interest in doing that. So I got my poetry magnets out, and I decided to do a poetry magnet poem every single day for my Tumblr page, but I also would put it on my Twitter. I did not have Instagram at the time. So how the poems basically ended up on Instagram was my ballet teacher really wanted me to join Instagram because that was like her social media of choice, and I decided, because she like pushed for it, that I would finally join Instagram. And since that is one of my social medias, I decided to add on sharing the poems that I wrote on Instagram. And also it was extra easy because you know how on Instagram you can like share your posts with on Tumblr or Twitter really easily and quickly. So then I could share it to all 3 really fast, and it was actually more expedient. So if you want to read like the full spectrum of how the magnetic poetry started, you'll probably want to go to Tumblr to read like everything that I've ever written for the past couple of years on that. As to my inspiration for the poems, it's kind of hard to say because I do have a very stream of consciousness kind of process to how I put the poems together. Basically, I have like this box full of magnets with words, and I sort through this and kind of throw the magnets around until I find some words that really interest me. And once I found that first line, I try to find words that kind of match up with the idea of that very first line. So I don't have like a plan before I start. I do really love occasionally visiting things about fairies and dragons and secrets and lies and mystery. And those are things that I do kind of come back to every once in a while. And there were also a lot of things that were kind of like healing poems. They were things that I was going through in my life, and I didn't really know that I was thinking about those things so much until they kind of came out in my stream of consciousness magnetic poem, which is kind of cool. There are many times where I just feel like making up a story and using the magnets to make up a really cool story that's just about people and it comes out. There have been many times when the TV show I'm watching and the themes in that TV show kind of go into the poem just because I'm listening to that while I'm working on my magnetic poem. There have been a couple times when the stuff that I'm reading kind of inspires what ends up in my poem, but it's always usually a surprise unless I'm doing one of those themes that I like to revisit over and over again. That was my first Q&A video. I'm sure this video is super long because I really love to talk. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this regardless of probably how long this video is. And thank you so much for sending your questions in. And also thank you to all the 200 plus people that have subscribed. Also, let me know in the comments what you want to do when I reach something like 300 or 400 subscribers, what you would like me to do for that, because we will definitely plan ahead and hope that that happens. And that is it for today. Thank you for watching, my fabulous people. Bye!